What's up, guys, man? I'm animesiah with another video, man. I react to music, reactions, anything you want to react to, man. Just make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. In this video, man, we're gonna be reacting to what he found in his house, chucked the whole wall. Let's get right into it, man.
Can be one of the worst events in a person's life. Not only can some of them be truly horrific, but they can cause significant damage to the home, even to the point of vacating.
We're talking hundreds, we're talking thousands upon thousands of cockroaches.
From buzzing bees making honey behind the walls of a home, to terror film-worthy nests of snakes. Here are 15 of the worst animal-infested houses. Number 15. Birds rule the roost. You can't look at this scene and not think of Alfred Hitchcock's famous The Birds. If you haven't seen The Birds, go watch it. Depending on who you are, this scene exploding into your living room can either be seen as magical or straight up bonkers. Imagine the family who was sitting in the living room as these 800 swifts came pouring in. The family said it seemed like they were never ending. As the birds flooded the house, they invaded every room. When space got tight, they started digging their talons into the ceiling and hanging from that. As you might imagine, the destruction was extensive. Not only were all kinds of things broken, scratched, and snapped, but there was bird poop everywhere. The migratory birds of question are known as Vaux's swifts and are notorious for roosting in chimneys. Never in numbers like this before, however. While they are often roosting in the chimneys, they don't often extend into the...
Imagine you watching TV like, let me watch some YouTube, you know what I'm saying? And then you see some ball just coming down the roof. I'll be damn crazy, man.
Home itself, with so many in this flock, they had nowhere else to go. All the way into the home is a rare occurrence, however, at least on this scale. Typically, if you have a swift infestation occurring, one or two might make it into the house. A hint that there are many more, and the chimney should be checked. If 800 made it into the house, who knows how many were still sitting in that chimney? Now, let's get ready for today's open discussion. To be fair, spiders are in every home. Believe it or not, humans and many species of spiders form a symbiotic relationship of sorts, so you should think twice before killing every spider you see. Most of the time, spiders are in the home as a natural defense, a predator that keeps many other unwanted bugs, even other nasty spiders, from entering the home and in check. On the other hand, there are a few that you should smash even if they're found in the house, or release them back out into the wild. We've all seen the footage and heard the stories about the mother spiders and her spiderlings. Hundreds, if not thousands of spiderlings can be born at once. And guess what? You'll find your floor or wall covered in the little army if you pop that sack prematurely. If allowed to grow and mature, you could find a scene like this if you aren't careful. Since most spiders are solitary in nature, even finding a scene like this would be rare. However, there are a few communal species that build colony webs, and they're called colony spiders. They work together to incapacitate prey stuck in their webs and share the harvest when all is said and done. While it is rare, it's not impossible. Who out there has seen a horror show like this one in their home? Drop a line in the comments telling your story, and don't forget to use the hashtag open discussion to chime in with the community. You want to know a little secret? If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly. Number 14. Plague of mice. When it comes to plagues, there are none more remarkable than those in the tales of religion. It's why when a terrible plague comes rolling around, it's referred to as a biblically proportioned one. If there's a place in the world that's seen such disaster of late, it'd be New South Wales. From drought, fire, pestilence, and now a ravenous, all-consuming plague of mice has struck, and all within a few short years. To many, things can't get any worse. Residents have said they can't go inside places sometimes because of the number of rodents. They crawl through the walls, find nesting spots, and go to work. Eventually, they die. Those in the walls will start to stink, rot, and bring disease, and it's near impossible to find the bodies, save tearing the whole thing down. Some nights, residents were forced to catch between 400 and 500 to keep them in check. Let's be honest, there's no keeping them in check at this scale. No. The influx of new products and grains as a recovery effort from the drought led to an increase in the mouse population. Now, swarms have been washing over the country and getting worse. Most residents are powerless to do anything because all that rat catching and poisons are sold everywhere. They're forced to live with these conditions. In the meantime, the horde has gone on destroying houses, businesses, and causing uncountable amounts of damage. Many people feel they'll be stranded once it's said and done, left with unlivable homes littered with rotting carcasses and droppings. Number 13. Giant swamp rats. Recently, a swarm of giant swamp rats invaded a Texas park, and they're having difficulty getting rid of them. Their ravenous appetite is destroying water supplies and is capable of infecting humans with parasites. So if you see one of these out and about, don't touch it or you risk infection. Since they eat up 25% of their body weight a day and migrate in swarms of millions, these rats could potentially decimate entire colonies and habitats if no action is taken.
Damn.
Furthermore, since a single female can birth up to 200 offspring in a single year, their numbers spike quite drastically and in little time. These conditions have been challenging for wildlife officials to get a grip on the situation. As of now, experts are imploring no one to feed the giant rats because it'll only encourage them to stay, multiply, and thus further damage their natural habitat. Number 12. Honey, I'm home. There are many infestations that you wouldn't want in your home, but I suppose it depends on the person. When it comes to honeybees, you may have heard of other infestations like termites, ants, or roaches, but bees? It is possible, as demonstrated by this example, and not as bad as it might sound. This woman in Texas welcomed the bees with open arms. In fact, she would harvest some of the honey for herself. She basically lived in a giant beehive. As years went on and the hive grew, she knew things were getting dangerous. Before having them removed, she had harvested a whopping 200 pounds of honey. It would take a massive hive colony to produce such amounts in such a time. Throughout the whole process, the woman never got stung, and they rarely got inside the home's livable area. Since the early 2000s, the woman lived with the bee infestation. Initially, she didn't know how many bees were lining those walls, but in the end, it was in the thousands.
Damn.
After a thorough inspection by a professional, it was revealed that hundreds of thousands of bees lived there. Number 11. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Bed bugs might be one of the most disgusting types of infestations possible. Once a home has bed bugs, everything in the home has bed bugs, and the tiny little creatures are called as such because they like to nestle in the filling of mattresses and come out at night while their hosts are sleeping. Thousands of them sneak out of their dwellings and take little nibbles from the house dog to the baby. If you ever wake up and find you have a ton of little bites, you might have a bed bug problem. If it becomes too bad, they won't even bother hiding anymore. They'll just hop around your sheets without fear of being seen. If this is the case, you have a severe infestation case on your hands and should seek professionals. They're tough to terminate.
I'm crazy. I'll move the fuck out.
You can easily train yourself to listen faster.
And might require a few housing gas bombs to rid. When a house has bed bugs, it's draped in containing tarps so that they don't spread throughout the neighborhood. They're ferocious spreaders and breeders. Number 10. Gross roaches. The cockroach is one of the world's oldest and most widespread invasive pests. They've been invading homes and businesses around the globe for as long as humans can remember and are some of the hardiest insects of them all. Because cockroaches can make themselves skinny, they can fit into any tight spot, which means all those nooks and crannies in your home. They're nocturnal insects, trying to avoid danger as best they can. If you see one in your home in the day, odds are there are plenty more hiding in those walls and ceilings. Since they prefer dark, moist conditions to hide and eat, they're often found under stoves, fridges, and sinks. If the infestation gets bad enough, they produce a terrible smell that anyone 3 houses down can smell. Remember that natural predator, the spider, we talked about earlier? If you don't smash everyone you see, they can actually help prevent this infestation. Better understanding which spiders you should kill and not kill so that this never happens to you. Number 9. Iguana invasion. When you think of Florida, freezing isn't typically the first thing that comes to mind. It's time to change that. As with the rest of the world, Florida is displaying some wacky weather patterns. In June of 2019, the weather dropped below 39 degrees, an extremely unusual weather behavior for the state. Across the states, frozen iguanas were observed falling from trees like fall leaves. The reigning iguanas were frozen alive because they're cold-blooded animals and they can survive the freeze but can't move. When the temperature finally warmed and the iguanas thawed, they dashed out back into safety. As funny as the event is, experts are worried the event is a precursor to similar dips in temp. Apparently, this was a wake-up sign for some to make a quick buck or two. Iguana meat popped up online, selling for $1 a piece. To be fair, the areas that were affected by the sudden freeze were blanketed in the creatures, from small 3-inch ones to up to 3-foot ones. They were all over. Florida State was forced to release a warning to cease and desist the pop-up meat market. That didn't stop it one bit. Now in Florida, the iguana has been dubbed the chicken of the trees. Number 8.
Damn.
Rattlesnakes everywhere.
I'm getting crazy.
Buying a new home is terrifying for so many reasons. Aside from monetary issues, there are also concerns about picking the right home, ensuring no problems persist or that soon will. In other words, it's not like you can just walk into the house door and pick one up. For reasons like this, moving is one of the most stressful things a human can do in life, at least in the United States. Put yourself in the shoes of this family who had finally selected their dream home. It had the view, it had the feels, it had what they wanted. A few days in, the family who'd claimed to just settle in heard a bizarre sound coming from the walls. Upon deeper analysis, they revealed a nightmare-inducing den of snakes beneath the home.
Damn.
Not just one serpent or two. Heck, not even 100, but over 150 snakes had found themselves a comfortable living beneath the family. They grew so numerous that they started popping up in crazy places all throughout the home. They'd just crawl through the cracks in the sidewalk or up through the sewer drains into the house. The family started seeing snakes in sinks, toilets, and showers daily. Upon moving in, the family had a gorgeous view of vast open fields and snow-covered plateaus. Now they have a demon infestation. Number 7.
Crazy.
Raccoons take over. Raccoons are rarely seen in the day because of their nocturnal habits. They often find ways into chimneys and attics, which are a safe place for them to call home. That is until the human who lives there finds out about the infestation. Once there, they bring food and start having babies. This is a bad point to be at. You don't want babies pooping and peeing all over your house. Not only will there be a rancid smell, but it could also rot through the ceiling or wall if not taken care of, making way for a plethora of health problems in the future. Since raccoons are the most prevalent species with rabies, it's essential to call a wildlife professional to come and handle the creature. Trying to do it on your own, especially against a mother, could prove to be a mistake. They're a ferocious and powerful beast with a mean bite. Number 6. Bear family takes a dip. If you ever came across a scene like this in your backyard, what would be your reaction?
I'll take a picture.
After taking a picture, it better be to call animal control. This family of black bears found the neighbor's swimming pool much more refreshing than those springs, so they decided to take a dip. Obviously, no one challenged their authority in this manner. Not until wildlife professionals arrived on the scene, at least. Number 5. Cat lady. We all know a cat lady or two, but this woman must be the queen of them all. Taking her 12-acre ranch, she created feline heaven with more than 1,000 cats on site. You heard that right. This cat lady lives with 1,000 freaking cats. As crazy as you might imagine this owner being, she's actually pretty standard for being considered a cliche cat lady. Since 1992, she started taking in cats, saying thousands have passed through her home over the years, and she never wishes it to stop. But get this, she actually has precise numbers for how many cats she's lived with. In 24 years, she's lived with over 28,000 cats.
Damn.
She must be the only person on the planet who can claim this much. She said she started the ranch from the sale proceeds of her Mercedes-Benz and wedding ring after she was divorced. Still, the land she purchased is now home to the most cats anyone has ever owned, and she's continuing to raise the bar with each new addition. Number 4. Bats in the roof. Bats are one of the worst infestations. If infested for too long, the population will increase and thus the droppings. The droppings soon turn toxic after a bat releases them. If the resident is unaware of their unwanted guest in the attic, they could become sick without knowing why. If you ever suspect a bat is nesting on your roof, seek help immediately. With that being said, bats are legally protected. They should not be approached on your own without the help of a professional. Whether it's a single bat or a whole flipping family, the key here is to lure them back into the wild. The bats just might be confused and thus aren't trying to harm. Suppose you hear flapping or scratching in your roof or walls. In that case, it should be investigated immediately. Don't just think it's the darn furnace again. Number 3. Idaho Snake House. Even in this tough economy, finding the picturesque 5-bedroom rural home just over $100,000 of your dreams might seem like an impossibility, but this family managed to do so. The problem? It had a long history of residents up and moving out with haste. As this family later discovered, the home is known by locals in Rexburg, Idaho as the Snake House because it apparently sits on a nest of non-poisonous garter snakes. For this reason, the family has called it the Satan House. It wasn't long before they jolted from the residence either, where it now remains in possession of the bank, who will probably have a hard time finding anyone to fill it. Perhaps it should just be torn down and left to the snakes. Number 2. Bald eagles invade town.
They should do that.
Bald eagles are an impressive specimen. Despite them being the national bird, they're actually quite rare to see in the wild. However, there are a few places where you'd have a higher percentage of seeing them. If you want a sure thing, just make your way over to Unalaska, Alaska, where they've almost taken over the town from local residents. It's a strange name, but it's authentic. This relatively remote island is populated by no less than 100 bald eagles on any given day.
Damn.
These guys run in flocks here. Whereas the rest of the world rarely sees one, Unalaska gets to see them as often as one might a pigeon. They're so prevalent on the island that many residents even consider them pests, an intersecting perspective for the national bird. According to scientists, Unalaska is home to roughly 600 bald eagles that live within a single congested square mile. If these guys honestly flew in flocks, they'd blot out the sun. While it might sound like a fantastic place to be, according to locals, doing something as simple as mailing a letter can be dangerous when the eagles are around. No one walks around eating food or drinking out in the open here because they'd risk battling a bald eagle. Being as dangerous and massive as they are, these eagles aren't afraid of humans and will snatch their food without warning. These master hunters would swoop down and swipe your sandwich right out of your hands and leave a scar across your cheek as a reminder. Residents have lost eyes, ears, even large portions of their scalp from a swooping eagle. They strike so frequently here that even the post office regularly puts up warning signs to customers. The island is home to the Dutch Harbor, one of the world's largest fishing ports. With this abundance of food, it's no wonder eagles have flocked and continue to expand here. Number 1. Scorpion House.
Never.
Scorpions are some of the most terrifying creatures found in nature. With pincers, a menacing appearance, and a crawl, and a tail of doom, the scorpion is one of the most feared arachnids in all of the animal kingdom. Though they, like other arachnids, are primarily solitary, few species form colonies, like the heinous Arizonan bark spider, the most poisonous scorpion in North America. This bad boy can deliver a rare but possibly lethal dose. The babies are the most dangerous as they can't control how much venom they inject. Worse off, they like to hide in closets and boxes, so you could get stung just walking about your home. No matter who you are or what you do to your house, it's possible for an infestation to occur. Stopping one would be like stopping a force of nature, and we all know that can't be done. At least not yet. Some are
Never. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what you think was the most scariest one. For me it was a scorpion. Never. I will never move someplace like that. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I see you guys later. Peace.